Andor Season 2, Episode 3 is here, and we might have the winner for new greatest couple in Star Wars. And did the Stormtrooper kill Brasso, or did he see this smile and get scared to death? And yet another mention to the Rakatan Empire? Episode 3 is titled Harvest, and it opens with Cassian Andor in space, still in that TIE Avenger that he stole in Episode 1 and was supposed to drop off on Yavin 4, but things got a little complicated, and now he finds himself lost in space, trying to communicate with Clea. And well, this is how that goes. We then cut to Mina Row, where there's a calm before the storm. Everybody looks so happy, not really knowing what true dangers are on its way. Kellen tells Brasso that the Empire will be searching this area tomorrow, but he also asks if Cassian's big boss can help with what's going on around here, to which Brasso responds with, "It's happening everywhere." And the concern in Kellen's face is foreshadowing what's going to happen later as he sells out Bix and the crew, leading to the death of Brasso. We then cut to Sandrilla, where it's finally the third and final day of this wedding. In this scene, Mon Mothma tries to convince her daughter not to go through with this. She couldn't have thought of that 3 days ago. Well, Mon Mothma tells her daughter that nothing on the other side of that door matters. We can tell all those people to just go home. Mon Mothma is really feeling this whole plan collapsing around her. In the previous 2 episodes, Koma is talking to her about how he feels like he's not appreciated enough. Davos gets his son to get married. What does Tay get in return for all this craziness? He's the one who gets affected the most with all this rebel stuff going around, and Mon Mothma can almost sense that all of this is going downhill. So she's trying to convince her daughter to bail out of it. But she says no, she's still gonna go through with it. We then get to see this whole ceremony with this giant stick wishbone thing, where Lita joins his circle. And after the parents circle around their children a few times, Heron hands him a knife. And after a moment of thinking that he might stab her and this becomes the Red Wedding all over again, he just cuts off the braid on Lita's head. Everyone's safe for now. We then go to Coruscant for the event of the century. Dedra and Cyril, the greatest couple in the world, are getting ready to host Cyril's mom. Yeah, that's right. Edie is coming over. Now we've seen some freaky stuff in Star Wars. Dedra smiling to herself in the mirror might be top 5. It is so strange. And when Edie arrives, 2 of the greatest characters are meeting for the first time. It's like Luke meeting Obi-Wan, or Luke meeting Yoda, or Anakin meeting Obi-Wan in The Phantom Menace. Edie meeting Dedra is gonna go down as one of the greatest things to ever happen in the history of mankind. Okay, but in all seriousness, this is just awesome. The amount of uncomfortableness, if that's even a word, in this scene, it's so good. Edie and Dedra are pretty much polar opposites. One dresses in all these different colors, one dresses in all black. One's short and has dark hair, one's tall and has blonde hair. The contrast of these 2 characters with Cyril in the middle, it's just perfect. We then cut across town on Coruscant to Luthen's gallery, where Clea is using her comm system to reach out to Cassian. They have to speak in code just in case the Empire is listening. Cassian explains to Clea that he still has the TIE Avenger. And not even that, he wasn't even told beforehand that he was stealing a ship that he had no idea how to pilot, which probably would have been helpful. But Cassian says he needs to call home, and Clea says, no, don't do that, because the Empire is there and they are jamming the signals. So any attempt to try and communicate with Bix could be caught by the Empire. But all Cassian hears in that message is that Bix is in trouble. So he immediately plots the course to Mina Row and blasts into hyperspace. We cut back to Coruscant to the dinner of a lifetime, where we learn a lot about Cyril's backstory and Dedra's. We learn that Cyril's father fancied himself an adventurer, and one day he left on an adventure and he never came back. So all that was left was a young boy, a delicate boy, with only a mother's love and determination. And if not for the charity of Uncle Harlow, who knows where they would be? Oh, Uncle Harlow, little did we know. People coming up with these crazy theories like Uncle Harlow is Palpatine and all this crazy stuff. Nope. Then Edie makes the mistake of asking Dedra about her family. And we learn for the first time really anything about the character of Dedra, as she says, I don't have a family. My parents were criminals. They were arrested when I was 3 years old, and I was raised in an Imperial Kinderblock. This show, man, it's so good. Edie continues to be, for lack of a better word, annoying, talking about his time working as a police officer on Morlana like we saw in season 1. And while Cyril's not too happy about his mom making fun of his job, so he storms off like a little kid. And I mean, things just get even better from here. As Dedra tells Edie that this game ends now. You want Cyril to stay in your life? You think before you speak. She says, I'll make sure he visits you twice a month. I'll make sure he calls you. Then she says, you can spare me the Uncle Harlow testimonials. I had a look at his ISB criminal files, and that is not a story that you want advertising. As Cyril comes back in the room, hearing his mom actually talk about good things, about his promotions. I honestly don't know where they're going with this whole Cyril and Dedra relationship, but it's surprisingly like the weirdest yet coolest thing going on right now. I don't even know how to explain it. I'm like disgusted, but so intrigued at the same time. I don't know. But with that, we cut back to Cinderella, where finally the secret present that Luthen brought is revealed. This is a Chandi Merle. It's one of 12 statues that was built 25,000 years ago and was stolen at the time by the Rakatan invaders. Now, this is the second time in Andor that we've heard of the Rakatans. The Rakatan Empire is like the real world's Roman Empire. It was a long, long time ago, but it was this massive empire that pretty much controlled the entire galaxy. And it's so strange in a show like Andor, where it's really not about the Force and lightsabers and the lore, really. It's just a show about the rebellion versus the Empire. We've now gotten the only 2 live-action mentions of the Rakatan Empire.
Ironic.
But the question has to be asked yet again, where is Luthen getting this stuff? If he's really building the rebellion as we speak, then how does he have time to go find these ancient artifacts from 25,000 years ago? It's pretty weird, but Tony Gilroy did confirm that we will learn about Luthen's backstory in this second season. So at some point, hopefully this will be explained. We then get a very weird scene between Luthen and this character, Erskine. Now, I really don't know how big of a character Erskine will be in Season 2, but his backstory is explained here, and he has connections to the future of the season. He explains to Luthen that his father was from Cinderella, but he was born on Naboo, and his mom is a Gorman, and their marriage was quite the scandal. Now, we know that future episodes this season will involve Gorman, so this scene may become more relevant later on this season. Their conversation is cut short as Tay-Koma accidentally bumps into him. We then get our third conversation between Tay-Koma and Mon Mothma, and every single time it becomes more evident that Tay is going to be a problem, and that problem is going to have to be taken care of. Because like Tay mentioned in the earlier episodes, him and his wife have split up, he's lost some investments, he needs money now, and his reputation has been tarnished with all these involvements with rebellion. But he keeps saying, we'll discuss all of this next week on Coruscant when this whole wedding is over. But Tay says he's leaving the party early. He doesn't want to put more of a damper on all these fun times. And as he walks away, they start the first dance. We get some new Cinderellan instruments in Star Wars. If I lived in Star Wars, I'd be a pro at this harp. But we cut back to Mina Rowe, where Brasso is leaving B2 behind. Now, this second season has been great so far, but the lack of B2 is really a problem. And I've really got a bad feeling about this because I think that they're going to be leaving B2 behind and he may not even be in the rest of the season. Tell me in the chat, do you think B2 is getting sidelined? Brasso leaves B2 with Talia as a TIE striker flies overhead. This type of TIE fighter has really only been seen in Rogue One. There'll be a lot of connections to Rogue One in this second season. We already know a certain Admiral Raddus will be in Season 2, but I'm sure that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to familiar faces in Season 2 of Andor. As the Empire arrives at Kellen's house, they send 2 troopers out to go get Bix. They already know that Bix, Brazos, and Will are here illegally. Kellen sold them out. And we cut back to Cinderella, where Luthen and Mon Mothma have a very difficult conversation. Tay-Koma won't stop talking to Davos Cauldron, and that's a big old problem. He could be revealing too many secrets to a guy who will tell the Empire. Mon Mothma says, I've known Tay my whole life. But Mon tells Luthen, we have a meeting next week. I'll find out the number. Keep him quiet. To which Luthen says, you know the number. We'd be vulnerable forever. You need to be protected. He's pretty much saying here, we got to kill Tay-Koma because any amount of money doesn't change the fact that this guy might turn on us at any minute. And then the music kicks in. The same song that plays at Nemos, the resort beach-like planet from Season 1 of Andor, where Cassian gets captured by the Empire and sent to Narkina 5. This is the same song that is playing at the wedding. And we get this weird, cool Star Wars disco ball, the DJ in Star Wars, if you will. And while Mon Mothma starts getting handed drinks, trying to ease the pain, I guess, Cassian just arrived in the space outside of Mina Rowe. However, he's a little late, as Creepo from episode 2 has arrived at their house. He says, it looks like you're packing up. To which Bix says, yeah, there's emergency repairs over on 800, which is pretty far from here. But it's the harvest and people are busy. And as this conversation is going on, Brasso gets caught by the stormtroopers. The Imperial officer enters their house, looking in the same mirror that in episode 1, Bix had the nightmare of Dr. Gorst looking in. Again, just genius writing by Tony Gilroy. The two creepy Imperial dudes who mess him with Bix looking in the same mirror. And as he does, he says, I know you're illegal. I get it. Everybody needs the help, but the rules are the rules. And it all ends up on my shoulders. To which Bix says, well, that must be stressful. And he responds with, yeah, I'm always looking for ways to relax. Ugh. This guy's the worst. And as he grabs Bix's hand, we see Cassian entering the atmosphere, and we cut back to Bix, who finally punches this guy in the face, deservingly so. And we flash back and forth in this scene between Bix and this guy fighting in the room and Mon Mothma dancing at the wedding. Two very powerful female characters, both sort of a part of the rebellion, both in very different situations. One at their daughter's wedding dancing in a room, and the other one fighting for her life against this creepy Imperial officer. But eventually, Bix gets the upper hand, grabbing a metal tool and hitting him across the head. And as all that commotion's going on inside, the Imperial officer outside calls for backup. And as it cuts back and forth to Mon Mothma on Cinderella, we actually see Take-Homa leaving the wedding. And his driver is Cinta. This is the first time we are seeing Cinta in this second season, as she makes eye contact with Vel. These two had and still have a romantic relationship, but Cinta puts the job first. And if Cinta is Take-Homa's driver, I don't think Tay's going to be around much longer. But will they actually kill him off? Tell me what you think in the comments. We go back to Mina Row, and Cassian has finally arrived in this TIE Avenger. He swoops down and destroys the transport. And as all the other stormtroopers are distracted by this explosion, Brasso makes a run for it, hopping on his speeder and trying to get away. But with this planet pretty much being all wheat fields, he doesn't have really any place to hide. And before Cassian can kill the stormtroopers, they blast him off the speeder. Cassian kills all the stormtroopers, burying some of them in the wheat, but it's too late. He lands and exits the TIE to find Brasso is dead. This is the catalyst for this season. Much like Cassian killing those Morlana officers in the first season, this is a catalyst for Cassian because Brasso was like his best friend, and for Bix. Especially Bix, because she's been through so much. She just killed Creepo, but she still has to kill Dr. Gorst and Dedra to get her revenge for what happened to her in season 1. But Cassian, Bix, and Wilmon get on the TIE fighter and leave the planet, leaving Brasso and B2 behind. I really don't know if they'll go back for B2, but the episode ends with Mon Mothma dancing away. This is very symbolic. It's like Mon Mothma shaking off all that senator in her. She's breaking free and letting loose, as later on in this season, she is going to be forced out of Coruscant. She's going to be forced out of the role as a senator, and she'll be a full-blown rebel. And that ends episode 3. This was my favorite episode of the first 3, but this is why these 3-episode releases work so well. If we just got the first episode one week, then the next episode the next week, then the third episode the following week, people would be complaining quite a bit. However, it works so well in these 3-episode arcs. And this third episode perfectly puts together those first 2 episodes and sets up what's to come later on in the season. And with that, I give this episode a 9.5 out of 10. I still think there's a lot of crazy stuff coming in this second season that will be better than this third episode, but we're not waiting for that to come. This was a great episode. But tell me what you think in the comment section below. Rate this episode out of 10. And if you watched episode 1 and 2, which I hope you did before watching episode 3, then go check out the breakdown videos I did for those 2 episodes in this video right here.